Good evening. June 27th, 2025. It is Friday. What's new? Nothing too terribly exciting. Work went pretty well. Nothing too crazy. Ended up helping one of the other guys get some stuff rounded up for a launch they got this weekend. So doing some stuff out of the norm, but it went fine. Had to go by the store, get groceries, all that jazz. Came home, made some dinner on the old smoker. Went for a good run today. Went out a little bit earlier than usual. Um, but it was good. Caught the sun. 4.56 miles today. I forgot to end it when it was done. So it absolutely murdered my average. But 12:16, 13:56, 13:53, 14:39. And then I forgot to end it for 20 minutes. Well, probably 13 minutes. Yeah. Just over 4.5 miles. Pretty good. Weather was good. Oh, hey, my fastest 5K today. I'll take it. Getting better every day. I was thinking about this on my run. I'd like to set some sort of 5K goal. So that was my fastest. And keep in mind, I cannot run forever. I'll run for a while and then I gotta walk for a while. And then I'll run and then I'll walk. I'm getting better. Of course, I just got my fastest 5K, but it was a 42:51. Don't judge. I wonder. I was trying to remember what the average is. Hang on, let me look. I think it's like 36 minutes. 35 minutes. $35 minutes. So I would like to try to do that this summer. I'm going to set a goal to do 35 minutes. I think I can do it. I can't do it. I will do it. And maybe like actually enter into a 5K race. It'd be kind of wild. I haven't competed in anything in a long time. But that'd be fun. Something to do. Something new. Meet some new people. Yeah, I like that. Another epiphany I had today while on my run. I realized that I absolutely cannot function without some sort of goal in my life. A goal set by me, for me. Not a goal set by someone else. Not a goal set at work. Like my own personal goal for myself that is not related to anyone other than me. I think that own personal goal gives me a lot of motivation to do whatever that goal is for myself, by myself. And I think it's a good one. And, I've been setting big goals, like 5-year goals, stuff like that. But I think having like little goals in the mix too would be nice. Something for like the summer. It's an attainable goal. It's going to take some hard work to get there for sure. but I know I can do it. It's just going to take consistency and discipline and sticking with it, you know, to make it happen. So that'd be cool. I like it. I don't know. 35 minutes is pretty aggressive, but I'm sure I could make it. How far is it? 3.1 miles? Is that right? Yeah, 3.107. 35 divided by 3.107. Ooh, that's pretty fast. 11:26. To average 11:26. Let's haul in the mail. I think so I'm not really like, I guess, training specifically for a 5K. So I end up usually going 4 miles, 4.5 miles. I almost pushed a little bit today, but I decided not to, just because I didn't want to be super sore tomorrow, but maybe I should have because I have tomorrow off. So I can actually catch up on some sleep. I say catch up on sleep, but I'll probably be up anyways. So I don't know if I focused on the 5K stuff, if it would translate, or if I should just keep up the distance and then maybe like 1 day a week just stick to 5K and push and see how close I can get. Because right now, whenever I go out with the idea that, okay, we got 4.5 miles we got to do. So don't kill yourself because we got a long ways to go. But if I say, okay, today we're only doing 3.1, we're going to do 5K today, push a little harder. Let's make it happen, Kevin. Maybe I should do that. Because that one day when I only ran 2.5 miles, I mean, I had like 12-minute splits, which is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. Something to figure out. We'll figure it out. What else is going on today? Um, X text me, send me some pictures. Went on a safari today. Pretty fucking badass, not gonna lie. So cool. So cool. And pictures of like monkeys and giraffes and all this other crazy stuff. It's so sick. She looks good, as always. Nothing new there. She was asking about meeting up. Of course, 4th of July is next week, and I do have some loose plans. You know, nothing too crazy, but I booked a campsite out the lake. Figured to just take the boat out and hang out. Weather looks slightly questionable. So, I don't know. We'll see. She got kind of worried because she gets back on Tuesday next week. And she was like, well, I don't want to dig into your time. You're going to be busy. You got to pack, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, hey, stop. Don't worry about that. Just let me know. I mean, if you want to wait, that's fine. But if you're just saying that because I have stuff going on, then stop. So We'll see. I think the time change is pretty severe. I think it's probably like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning there or something. I don't remember. Oh, it's 6:13 in the morning there right now. It's 10 o'clock here. So yeah, it was kind of late. Those last few texts that we sent. So we'll see. Might hear from her tomorrow. Might not hear from her at some point. There's some hesitance there. I don't blame her. Yeah. I mean, I haven't told her about all the changes that I made in my life because, quite frankly, I didn't do them for her. Not trying to be a dick, but I did them for me because they helped me. But I mean, I know that they would make a big difference in any relationship, I guess, that I have. But it would make a big difference for us too. But I haven't told her any of it. I figured I'm not even gonna bother. If she wants to meet up, she can see the changes for herself. It's not gonna do any good to sit here and try to brag about it or whatever. If she don't want to meet up, she don't want to meet up. That's no big deal. Yeah, I don't post like selfies or anything online either. I think it's weird. Dudes posting selfies. It's kind of a red flag. Yeah, I don't know. I guess either way, no matter what happens, I still got my goals. I still got the progress that I've made. Still got a direction. That's the important stuff. Pretty crazy. Literally had like the wildest midlife crisis of all time. Most dudes buy Corvettes or something. I like went off the deep end, completely rewrote my story, or actually just wrote a story for once. Taking myself seriously for the first time ever. Keep thinking. I can't quit thinking about all my buddies and the booze and just, I don't know. I'm a little worried. I might end up having to like build a new friend group, but I guess it is what it is. I'm still in the group chats and whatnot, but I don't know, man. I just can't be bothered to go out drinking and stuff. I just can't do it. Leaves more room for better stuff, in my opinion. I quit drinking for like a month. When was that? Maybe like 2 years ago. it was for completely different reasons. And to be quite honest, probably pretty weak reasons. And I didn't really take it that seriously. And I don't know, I didn't feel the same way that I feel about it now. If that makes sense. I think it was more like, man, I'm just drinking a lot. I need to cut back. I need to stop drinking so much. And now it's like, I don't need to drink at all. Like, it is so bad for you. Like, I could not be doing what I'm doing if I was still drinking. And I feel way better now than I have in many years. Many, many years. Pretty wild. Hang on, we're going to pause this for 2 seconds. I need to go refill my water. BRB. Yeah, I don't post anything online about all the stuff that I'm doing, all the changes that I made, like the weight that I've lost. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Matters to me, but it doesn't matter to anybody else. I think that's the important part. I just want to be healthy for my future. Big time. Well, I don't know what else I got. Trying to think of any other stuff that happened today or anything else I want to touch base on before we start rolling, but oh, I sold my freaking amp that I've had on Marketplace for a year. Good grief. I literally like forgot about it. Thought that was cool. I sold it today, so that's nice. I don't think of what else. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Okay. Let's get rolling. 10:23. Why is forgiveness important? You know, I think forgiveness is important for your own well-being. Just because you can't let that stuff like live in your head rent free forever doesn't mean you forget, but you don't have to hold the grudge. Like holding on to that resentment, it will like it won't. It's not good for you. So forgive, but don't forget. What areas in your life are mostly controlled by your soul? I don't know. Really? I mean, I've kind of always considered myself somewhat of an old soul kind person. Maybe maybe that is the case. You know, I've always been like a treat others as you want to be treated kind of thing, giving people the benefit of the doubt. You know, like manners, being a gentleman, things like that. Maybe that's my soul. I don't know. Never really thought about that. We'll go with it. It makes sense to me, anyways. Adventure is not outside, man. It is within. The mind is a very powerful thing. Very powerful thing. How is your ego blocking the best version of yourself to get out? Um, you know, I think for a long time, my ego was like driving the bus. And I think maybe that's why I struggled making goals, like long-term goals and creating a vision. Because I don't think my ego could handle getting bruised if it didn't work. That's quite the revelation. Hmm. Epiphany for the night right there. Yeah, that's weird. Never thought about that. It's a good book. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to reform or pause and reflect. Yeah, it's true. In what areas of your life do you blindly follow the majority? Well, alcohol for once. Yeah, it was literally just a thing always. Gonna go do something, gonna be alcohol involved. That was literally just like my life. Not really sure where else, to be honest. I'm quite the trailblazer in a lot of other areas of my life. I'm not afraid to go against the stream, so to speak. Regarding the law of attraction, who do you need to be to attract a fulfilling dating life or a loving partner into your life? You know, being authentic, being true to myself, honoring myself. Big one. I literally treated myself worse than anyone else in my life for the longest time. I always came last. Live authentically without apology. True that. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Always learning. True that. In what areas in your life they miss they there's a spelling error here. They left a word out. In what areas in your life do you think you know it all? I mean, I know a lot about a lot of stuff, but I don't know it all. I have a lot of people, I guess, that reach out to me for knowledge on stuff, but I don't know it all. I tend to I don't know. I try to be very humble. I don't like to gloat. I don't like to brag. Maybe I should be more braggadocious. I don't know. Write down at least 3 qualities you'd like to improve about yourself. Um, physical health for sure. Working on that pretty hardcore. Relationship skills. Been working on that for a hot minute. And then self care. I don't think you could ever have enough of all of that stuff if I'm being completely honest. There's always room for improvement. Um, and with the direction I want my life to go, like I know that I need to focus on those things to aid in those goals coming to fruition. So I'm happy with that. May you live every day of your life. Yeah, it's a good way to go about it. Been on autopilot for a long time. And to tell you the truth, kind of hard to believe that it's been 20 years since, over 20 years since I graduated. I was living in moments, but I didn't know where I was going. There was no direction. There was no goal. I was basically just having fun, which, I mean, that's not the end of the world. I had some cool stories, some cool places, but in the long run, it's just not. The more I do it, the less aligned I feel, if that makes sense. Like I appreciate the trips. I appreciate adventure, but I feel misaligned the more I do it. So, yeah, there's that. How would you describe yourself? Didn't we already do this? Smart, talented, patient, kind, funny sometimes, driven, passionate, loyal, I think those are good. I don't know how many they want, but I think that'll work. Oh, biscuits. How would the best version of yourself approach your family life? You know, my dad was awesome growing up, to be honest. There were, of course, not always, but he was a really good dad most of the time. We'll say that. And I think a lot of those characteristics I would like to use in my own life, bringing my own kids up. He was like super encouraging. He was always supportive. He was always willing to listen. Um, very kind, um, firm without being destructive, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Any fool can know. The point is to understand. Yeah, I'm all about that. I will dig to the depths of whatever for understanding. I'm all about that life. Describe the image you project to other people. Um, I don't know. I try to be composed, confident, um, stable. friendly. I don't know. What do you think? Curious? I always like learning about new people. I think that's always fun. Never let your sense of morals prevent you from doing what is right. If you were to describe the ideal man, what would he do during the weekends? I'm working on it. I don't know. Take care of any chores, I guess. Chores, self care. Exercise, relax. I mean, spend time with family, I guess, if you have that. I don't. So I guess I'll just put down that right now since that's what I got. What qualities do you despise in other people? Um, I cannot stand cocky people, titled people. Over talkers, drunks. Yeah, I can't stand that. People pleasers kind of irk me sometimes too. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. Yeah, learned that the hard way. Can't change other people. Doesn't happen. You drive your own bus. You want change? Change yourself. Yeah. When was the last time you tried to change something and succeeded? What is the lesson of this experience? I mean, I do that constantly at work. Always doing that at work. I mean, it's literally my life. Trying to find new ways to make things happen or whatever. And I mean, I've changed a lot myself too, which I think that is more rewarding in a sense than even the stuff that I'm doing at work. What inner beliefs are actually your parents? Um, Probably treat others as you want to be treated. That was kind of a thing that was passed down from my parents for sure. But I see the value in it. I mean, I think it is a flaw in some instances because you do have to like stick up for yourself sometimes. It don't matter how you treat people. Some people just treat you like shit, and you can't let people treat you like shit. So it is what it is sometimes. I think respect too, mutual respect, treating people with respect. I really respected my dad for sure. And there were some things, of course, I didn't respect about him, but I value that respect and being treated with respect. And that's definitely an important thing to me as well. Life is neither good or evil, but only a place for good and evil. Yeah, it's true. What are your thoughts on good and evil? I don't know, man. You can only control what is in your control. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. What lessons can you learn from your current financial situation? I mean, being disciplined. I don't know. Being disciplined and trying to think of a word. Concise. I've always thought the actions of men the best interpreters of their thoughts. I've always thought the actions of men the best interpreters of their thoughts. It's written very weird. In what areas of your life are you walking your talk? Um, Cutting booze, quit vaping, exercise, diet, personal development, Man, I'm hitting it hard right now. Goals, vision, living authentically. Killing the game right now. In what areas of your life aren't you walking your talk? I don't know. I'm so busy doing other stuff that I don't even think about it. I got so much other stuff that I'm focused on right now. I'm not even trying to hype myself on stuff that I'm not worried about. Yep. Let's go. To not be afraid, our fate cannot be taken from us. It is a gift. Is fate real? I don't know if I like the whole concept of fate. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. What lessons can you learn from your current career or business situation? Oh man, chasing them dollars. You know, initially when I hired on for that job, it seemed like it was everything I wanted it to be. You know, full alignment plus money. But as time went on, it is skewing further and further and further and further away from what I thought it was going to be. And it's kind of disheartening. But I guess it is what it is right now. You know, trying to get this whole train rerouted in the right direction. And right now, it's okay. I can deal with it. Everything's fine. You know, once I get things back on track and things start really like smoothing out and headed in the right direction, I can focus on the next goal, you know. But for right now, it's fine. It is, it's fine. Describe your parents' relationship. Yeah, there was none. NA. We're not going to go down that road. The reasons bird can fly and we can is simply because they have perfect faith. For to have faith is to have wing. I don't think I can fly if I have an extraordinary amount of faith. What are some fundamental differences between you and your dad? I think I was a much bigger risk taker than he was. I'm probably more outspoken too. Driven. Thirst for knowledge. Mechanical. Yeah, he was a solid dude, but he wasn't even like a wrencher. He didn't like work on stuff. I don't know where I found all of this. It's literally like a God given gift because no one in my family was like that. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know. Pretty wild. Love is service. The fruit of service is peace. Write down 5 things that wouldn't matter so much if you were going to die within 2 months. What's gonna matter? I don't think really anything would matter. Work, diet. Might as well eat pizza the last 2 months you're here, right? Exercise, money. Approval. Ooh, that one hits you right. Old feels, huh? Do you sometimes dress as good when you're all by yourself as you wear when you're with others? Why or why not? I literally wear the same thing every day. Yeah, I'm the most vanilla wardrobe of all time. Procrastination is the thief of time. Collar him. Yeah, procrastination is a bad deal. I got stuck in a pretty hardcore loop of procrastination. Not too terrible long after the ex and I lit. Oh, it's bad. It was bad. Hang on a second. No, I don't know if oh, a little tight. I don't know if it was just procrastination or depression or probably a combination of all of the above. I've literally never been as low as I have during that time, ever. You know, after my dad passed, I was pretty low. But, in that situation, I had a lot of people reaching out pretty much constantly. And there was always stuff going on. And then I started drinking to numb everything. So that didn't help. I just buried it. Yeah, after this breakup, I was in a dark spot. It was tough. It was hard to get out of. I'll tell you that. It took a whole lot of work and effort and discipline and stuff to get back rolling, get out of that hole. Funny thing is, when I fell in that hole, there's a whole bunch of other holes in there that I never dealt with too. Good Lord, man. It's crazy. Depression's no joke. To whom do you look up to? Write down at least 3 people. You know, I think I'm having an epiphany. I need some mentors in my life. You know, I don't have anyone close to my life right now that's done this journey that I'm doing or even a part of it. Hmm. You know, my dad was one for sure, but now that he's not here, I can't really consider. I mean, of course, yeah, I still look up to him, but the now I'm looking up to my memory of him, not the actual him. So, I mean, I still reflect, have conversations, you know, in my head of like, well, I wonder what dad would do. I wonder, you know, things like that. But I need someone in my life that's leveled up from me. Yeah, another goal. Need to find someone that's ahead of me. You know, it might be a good time to do something like that too, because any connections you can make are always good. You know, they'll help you out no matter what. And finding, I don't know, sober friends, active friends could open up like new possibilities. Yeah. A friend is someone who knows all about you and still loves you. True. What are your favorite ways for escapism? It used to be booze. I think now it's like the big one right now is exercise. Travel is still good. Um, Yeah, it used to be booze, exercise, travel, motorcycle time's always fun. Projects, side projects, whatever, chores. I mean, chores need to get done, but it's a good way to like take your mind off the moment, if that makes sense. Give you time to like reflect, rethink. Right, three things you can do when you lack motivation. Move. That's the biggest thing for me. Just move. Get up, move, do something. Not the internet. Reddit is the biggest black hole in the entire universe. I can spend hours on Reddit just going through stuff and research and blah, 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 blah. The biggest thing for me is just move. Get up, move, do something. Um, and also lacking motivation. Start small. Do something small, little small, whatever it needs to be. If you got a million things to do, pick the smallest thing on that list. Get it done. That gets you up and gets you moving. You're doing something, and then you can pick the next thing. That's definitely a big one too. If you got a laundry and you got a vacuum, you got all these other things to do, it's like, all right, well, just take the laundry basket in there and just put it in the washing machine. Start small. We are here and it is now. Further than that, all human knowledge is moonshine. Yeah, true that. How the best version of yourself approach your attitude towards contribution? Man, I'm always about it. I'm always a team player. I always like contributing however I can. Yeah, I'm a firm believer. The strongest person is the team you got. For sure. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. I think that's a big thing, just taking action, you know? You gotta take action. What would you like your contribution to this world? Or what would you... Sorry, let me start over. I can't read. What would you like to be your contribution to this world 10 years from now? 10 years. Man. You know, I'd like to be of service to people in some way or another. To be of service to my community. Have a family. I want to be able to pass things on to the next generation. You know what I mean? What did you want to become when you were around the age of 18? What happened with that dream? Man, what did I want to be when I was 18? I wanted to work at a body shop. I remember. That's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, I remember they had like a career day um senior year, like towards the end of school. They had all these weird jobs, like accountant and like a bank teller and all this stuff. I was like, I don't want to do any of this. And I got set up to go work at a body shop for my career day thing. And it was pretty cool. And I didn't end up actually like working at a body shop, but I did go into like the automotive paint industry and sold automotive paint and did like paint demos, like went to body shops to, you know, show them how to use paint stuff, paint things. And then of course I went on to do all sorts of paint work myself and for my customers as well. Um, I enjoy it to a point. I think I'm too much of a perfectionist to like thoroughly enjoy it, and it's so incredibly time consuming. Oh my god. Paintwork is the bane of my existence. So much sanding. Everything has got to be perfect. It is incredibly laborious. But I mean, I did it for a long time. I mean, I painted all my bikes that I've had and painted other people's bikes. There's guys rolling around town with paint jobs that I did on them, which is a cool feeling. Um, but not necessarily something I want to do all the time. And the stuff that I like to do is not factory, like run of the mill Dodge Ram paint jobs. Like I want to do cool stuff that's fun for me if I'm going to do it. And that works a little bit harder to come by. And to be honest, I just don't have the space to do it right now. So, but it's cool. I did it. What is wanted is not the will to believe, but the will to find out, which is the exact opposite. Write down all the reasons why you unconsciously think you are not good enough. Hmm, crazy. It all just kind of boils down to a lack of confidence. When you really boil it all down, you can like nitpick things all day long, but why do you hold these thoughts within your being? I think struggled with external validation in a sense with those things. Trying to prove myself to others. It's one thing that I've been working on pretty hard as well the past few months. I've always been putting others' needs ahead of my own, to seek that approval, and it's been insanely detrimental. God, it put me in a horrible position. And, you know, redirecting that focus onto myself and that validation within myself. And it's helped a lot. Yeah. Mm, deep talk. Oh, God, it's late. We've been going for a while. Oh, God, yeah. Hour and 20 minutes. Okay. If we go down into ourselves, we find that we possess exactly what we desire. Yeah. Yeah. I find something new every day. You know, the more we're going to call this here, but um the more I make myself a priority and focus on my own shit, so to speak, I feel like the better I can show up for everyone else because I can show up authentically and there's no approval seeking, there's no validation seeking because I find all that stuff within myself. It's been a hell of a roller coaster to get on that track and on that train. But yeah, it's been good. You know, I think I've spent so an absolutely insane amount of time delving into self-help genre, we call it, and just learning more and more and more about myself. And there was some, I don't know, this might be going off the rails. Bear with me. You know, Eckhart Tolle, I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he's got some pretty profound stuff too. And other stuff about like reparenting your inner child. Sounds crazy, but bear with me. You know, a lot of the validation and core wounds, that I think we carry around, especially if your parents aren't here anymore, it makes it even more pronounced. You're looking for that kind of validation that you got from your parents, that's completely and utterly unconditional and never waning. And if you don't learn to do that yourself, you try to get it fulfilled from other people. And other people can't do that because they're not your parents. That was a pretty crazy thing for me too. And sometimes I have to literally just talk to myself out loud to like reinforce that and make it more of a habit. But I mean, it works. It might be a weird way of going about it. I don't try to do it like in the grocery store or anything weird like that, but yeah, pretty crazy. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I've dealt into, and to be honest, 40 years old, and I feel like I've learned more about myself this year alone than the entire rest of my life. It wasn't easy at all. It was really, really hard, to be honest. At some points, I didn't know if I was going to make it. Yeah, just dealing with all the stuff that I've had built up for so long, plus the recent stuff, plus everything else in life that I neglected to deal with. It all showed back up. But yeah, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm actually taking myself seriously. It's kind of a shame in a sense. It's not like I feel like I wasted my life by any means, but maybe maybe I just feel a little bit behind, if that makes sense. I wish I would have delved into this a long time ago, but no better time than the present. hell, I could have just kept on rolling and not dealt with it and been a 60-year-old man still with all these crazy skeletons hanging in the closet. But yeah, no better time than now, for sure. It's completely changed, like, I don't know, everything. So weird. It's literally like an awakening of sense, like sorts. And then it kind of opens a new perspective on my life. Kind of makes me ask, like, what the hell? What what the hell have I been doing? That was really one of the biggest questions that set off this whole thing. What am I doing? Yeah, I couldn't even tell you how many times I asked myself over the past 3 months, probably 4 months. And it was always that question, and I couldn't ever find the answer. I was a train wreck. I literally, like, it would all just boil down to, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing this for? What am I doing? I had to ask myself like 100 times before I even started to scratch the surface. And even during that time, you know, I was still, good God, elbows deep in all sorts of crazy self-help books and, you know, self-improvement stuff, and listen to podcasts and therapy and all sorts of crazy stuff. And yeah, it finally clicked. I was like, you know, what am I doing? I'm not doing anything. That was the problem. I wasn't doing anything. It might not be that simple for you if somebody else is watching this for whatever reason, but I was literally not doing anything meaningful with my life whatsoever. You know, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't taking care of my health. I was just on cruise control, no direction whatsoever. I mean, I was literally just a boat floating in the ocean. It was insane. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out. I don't know. I don't know. But hey, we're on the path. We're figuring things out. We're making moves. Life feels better. Life feels on track. We have goals. We're taking care of ourselves. We feel good. Everything's going to be all right. Maybe we should get that as a tattoo. Just get it like right on my arm. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. I think Jordan Peterson's book, that's a crazy one if you ever wanted to get into that. It's pretty religious. Not everyone's forte, but not really even mine, to be honest. But it still has a lot of good information in it. But, you know, he always talks about taking on responsibility. And I guess I always thought of that like in maybe a slightly different sense than maybe what he was trying to portray. You know, whenever he would talk about, yeah, take on some responsibility in your life. It's like, okay, well, you know, that's fine. Pay bills, buy a car. I don't know, whatever. But I think the way it really should be interpreted is like, take some responsibility for yourself, have accountability for yourself, you know, take your life seriously. Set some goals. Start with little ones. Got to start somewhere. I need to still working on fine tuning the whole goals thing, vision, all that stuff. And I'm not trying to go like absolutely buck wild bananas right out of the gate. So it's like, okay, well, set a 5-year goal. Like what you want your life to look like in 5 years. Okay. Lock that in. Don't let it get out of your vision. If you need to modify it slightly, it is what it is. Keep a big generic goal out there. And then me personally, I need small goals. So I feel like I'm making progress. And that was kind of my little epiphany that I had today. You know, I guess my loose initial goal was like, it wasn't really even a goal. Excuse me. You know, the whole reason I started exercising so much is just because it made me feel so much better. You know, it alleviated all these pent up emotions, you know, that I had no outlet for. And I mean, yeah, talk, whatever, it helps. But just draining your physical energy, I think helps way more because it just slows your mind down. It literally has made a monstrous difference. And then it wasn't necessarily a goal, but I was like, well, it was more like a reward system, I think. Hey, I feel better whenever I go exercise. Okay, well, then let's go feel better. Let's go exercise. And then it slowly morphed into like a goal, like, hey, I'm going to try to do a 5K this summer. Like, you know, just small steps in the right direction can lead to big changes. Yeah, good times. Well, I guess I still need to take a shower. Hit the hay. We've been talking for a long time. So, I don't know. I guess we'll probably, oh, my straw. Not a good place for my cup. But yeah, I don't know. Let's hit some good points tonight, I think. Good thinking points. Kind of some deep stuff. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just keep kicking ass tomorrow, I guess. See what the day has planned. Still need to clean the garage. My buddy needs some help with his boat too. I don't know. Maybe try to do that. Maybe hit the lake on Sunday. The weather's supposed to be pretty good. Let me take an old gander here, shall we? Oh my God, 96. Woo. Dry and partly cloudy for the day. Scattered storms arriving into the night. Might be all right. Uh-oh. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, it's going to be hot, cloudy. Storms at the night, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what everybody else has planned. Yeah, I guess we'll see. So, I guess on that note, listen to me for an hour and 40 minutes, so I'm sure you're tired. But until next time, Derek is out. Love you.